What's the craziest thing you've ever been accused of? The police showed up at my apartment at 3 a.m. last month. They had a warrant, cameras rolling, and looked at me like I was some kind of monster. I had no idea what was happening until they mentioned the hospital. I'd visited my mom earlier that day. She was in a medically induced coma after her surgery. Everything had been normal. The nurses were friendly, the doctors optimistic. But now the detective was telling me about a string of mysterious incidents in the ICU. That's when I noticed something disturbing in their evidence photos. The hospital's security cameras had these weird glitches, just 2.3 seconds long, always during night shift. The IT department claimed it was routine maintenance, but my tech background screamed that something was wrong. I dug deeper into my mom's medical charts. Hidden between routine notes were unusual sedative doses at 2 a.m., exactly when the cameras glitched. Not just for my mom, every patient who reported incidents had the same pattern. The hospital administration tried to brush it off as a documentation error, but Tuesday night, the hidden camera we installed caught something nobody expected. The night nurse wasn't working alone. She was being forced, tears streaming down her face as she followed someone's orders. My mom finally woke up yesterday. She grabbed my hand and whispered something that made everything click. The hospital director has been harvesting organs from sedated patients. The thefts were just a cover-up.
I found my mom's old diary in my stepdad's office, and what I discovered changed everything. I was cleaning out boxes in the attic when I found it, a small blue notebook with flowers on the cover. I thought it was just another photo album, but when I opened it, I saw my mom's handwriting from 15 years ago. I knew I shouldn't read it, but one sentence caught my eye. I can't tell anyone the real reason I left Mark. Mark was my real dad, who mom always said abandoned us when I was 3. My hands were shaking as I kept reading. The truth hit me like a truck. My dad hadn't abandoned us at all. Mom left him because she was scared. He had a gambling problem and lost their entire savings, their house, everything. She wrote about how he begged her to stay, promised to change, but she couldn't risk it with a baby to protect. But here's the crazy part. My stepdad Dave knew about this diary. I found a note stuck between the pages in his handwriting. Use this if she ever tries to leave. He was keeping it as insurance, threatening to tell me the truth if mom ever divorced him. I took pictures of every page and drove straight to my mom's work. When I showed her, she broke down crying. She admitted Dave had been using this secret to control her for years. She was too ashamed to tell me the truth about dad, and too scared of losing me if she left Dave. I hugged her and said, "Mom, you protected me once by leaving dad. Now let me protect you." We packed her bags that night. Dave came home to an empty house and a note that said, "I found the diary. Game over. Now mom and I are starting over." And yesterday, I got a text from my real dad. Turns out he's been sober for 12 years, waiting for a chance to make things right.
What is the most incredibly clever way a kid has ever won a case? My friend Mike married Sarah, who had a daughter, Emily. He raised her like his own. At 15, she asked to take his last name. The problem? Her biological dad, Greg, had to approve, and Greg, who barely acknowledged her, refused. "This is ridiculous," he scoffed. "She's my daughter. She keeps my name." So, it went to court. The judge wasn't keen on granting name changes for minors, but agreed to hear the case. Greg sat there, full of confidence. "I love my daughter. She's part of my family." Emily's lawyer, Ms. Whitmore, asked about his other kids, their names, ages. "My son is 12, my daughter is 10, and Emily? She's 15. So she's your eldest?" Greg barely hesitated. Of course. A few more questions, then Whitmore circled back. "Just to confirm, your oldest child is..." Greg, without thinking, said, "My son. He's 12. Silence. His lawyer buried his face in his hands. Greg didn't even realize what he'd done. In his mind, Emily didn't count. The case was lost. That night, Mike found Emily outside. "Big day," he said. Emily smirked. "Yeah, went exactly how I planned." Mike frowned. "Planned?" She turned to him, eyes sharp. "Greg has a trust fund in my birth name. He controls it until I'm 18. Mike's stomach dropped. "And?" Emily grinned. "If my legal name changes, that account doesn't exist." Mike stared. "You set this up?" She shrugged. "I knew he'd fight. I knew he'd lose." Mike exhaled. "Damn, kid." Emily leaned back, satisfied. The judge's voice echoed. "Name change granted."
My daughter's first word exposed my wife's biggest secret. I was so excited to hear my baby girl's first word. For weeks, I'd been saying dada whenever I could. But one morning, while I was feeding her breakfast, she looked right at me and said, "Alex." She kept saying it, giggling like it was our game. I didn't know any Alex. When I asked my wife about it, she got quiet and said it must be from some kid's show. But something felt off. Her hands were shaking as she washed dishes. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about how my wife had been working late a lot lately. So I did something I never thought I'd do. I checked her phone while she was in the shower. There were hundreds of messages from work project in her phone. But this wasn't about work at all. It was Alex. And the messages went back to before our daughter was even born. The last message read, "She looks more like you every day." I took screenshots of everything and sent them to myself. Then I got a DNA test done. When the results came back, my heart stopped. My daughter wasn't mine. I confronted my wife with the test results. She broke down and admitted everything. Alex wasn't just her coworker. He was her high school sweetheart she'd never gotten over. The divorce was ugly, but worth it. Last week, I signed adoption papers for my new girlfriend's little boy. Turns out real love isn't about DNA. It's about choice. And this time, I chose my family instead of having it chosen for me.
What happened at a wedding that made you realize it was doomed from the start? My brother's wedding seemed picture perfect. Beautiful venue, perfect weather, and a bride who our parents adored. Ryan and Megan had dated for 3 years, but something always felt off. The red flags were subtle. She'd text constantly when her cousin visited. She'd get defensive when asked about her family history, and she'd make uncomfortable comments about Ryan's family wealth. But Ryan was 34 and ready to settle down, so he ignored it all. During the reception, I went to grab Ryan's gift from my car. Walking back through the garden, I overheard Megan behind the hedges. "Just 8 more months until his trust fund vests," she whispered. "Then we're free, Jasper." Her cousin Jasper replied, 5 years of planning finally paying off. I didn't cause a scene. I waited for the father-daughter dance to end, then told Ryan everything. His face showed only resignation. He returned to the reception, took the microphone and said, "The Bali honeymoon is non-refundable. Megan, I think you and Jasper will enjoy it more than we would." The room went silent. Megan stammered, "He's my cousin, don't be ridiculous." Ryan calmly replied, "Cousins don't usually kiss the way you two did in the garden." He walked out with our family following. No drama, just quiet dignity. We later learned Jasper wasn't related to her at all. They'd been together for years before she even met Ryan.
What event made you see your mom in a whole new light? I was 14 when my mom lost her job. She'd been the financial analyst at her firm for 7 years. That night, I discovered her in our basement surrounded by dusty boxes of old photography equipment. Within days, she'd converted the laundry room into a darkroom. Dad kept pressuring her to find real work, but she barely acknowledged him anymore. She'd vanish for hours, capturing forgotten corners of our town that everyone else ignored. I started noticing the dark circles forming under her eyes. Some nights, I'd wake at 4 a.m. to find her still hunched over her desk, editing photos until sunrise. "I'm fine," she'd insist, downing another coffee. The arguments between my parents intensified. "This photography nonsense is bankrupting us," Dad would shout. Mom's voice grew quieter each time, but she never stopped. 6 months later, I found her collapsed on the darkroom floor. The paramedics couldn't revive her. "Cardiac failure due to extreme exhaustion," the doctor said. I was numb, empty, until I found her journal while packing her things. Through tear-stained pages, I read words that shattered me. "Every photo I sell gets Tyler one step closer to college. Nothing else matters." She never got to see how her sacrifice paid off. The memorial exhibition sparked interest from a major curator. Her photographs of overlooked places now hang in galleries nationwide. The woman who died making sure I had a future became renowned for showing the world what it had failed to see.